It's time for the MotoAmerica AMA FIM North American Road Race Championship. It's MotoAmerica Superbikes at Alabama for our final race of 2021 from Barber Motorsports Park. Hey everybody, welcome to Supersport, our race number 2 and our final Supersport race of the season on a soggy race day. I'm Greg White, sitting alongside two-time champ Jason Pridmore. And Jason, here we are at the top of the hour. We're live. We didn't know if we were going to get this race going because up until a few minutes ago, it was pouring rain and standing water everywhere.
Yeah, we were lucky this morning. We got a Superbike race in, which was good, and then it literally just downpoured, and the track almost has become unrideable. But as it does here, it can improve just as quickly as it gets bad, and it's starting to get a little bit better. MotoAmerica crew are working on things. Let's look at race 1 highlights from yesterday's Supersport race. The front row got off to a great start. As you can see, SDK, Escalante, and Rocco got off to good jumps. Love seeing Thermiotis jump himself in here into 3rd spot. As you can see, he locked into the back of the 2 leaders, and he was able to pull himself away. But it was really the 2 guys at the front as usual, Sean Dillon Kelly and Richie Escalante. As Escalante went up underneath SDK going into Charlotte's Web, he only got to lead for about 3 corners before this happened. Popular thing, turn 8. We've been seeing a lot of those accidents. We had a red flag for not necessarily that incident on Escalante, but for another reason. And when they got the race restarted, unfortunately, CJ LaRoche tipped off on the back section of the track. Once again, Thermiotis slotted himself into 3rd, but this time he'd be joined by number 37, Stefano Mesa, who would run down actually the 2 leaders. At one point, it looked like Mesa had pace on them both. SDK and Escalante went back and forth, and on the last lap, SDK made a definitive pass down into Charlotte's Web and was able to hold on to win again.
So Sean Dillon Kelly already wrapped up the 2021 champion. He's been here for 3 seasons as he exits MotoAmerica to head off to the World Championship, and you can see where he finished and the amount of points that he scored and that nice progression. Now yesterday, Jason was just talking about the number 37, Stefano Mesa. He finished 3rd. We didn't get a chance to talk to him on the podium, but Hannah had a chance to catch up with him after the race.
Greg, yesterday's Supersport race was definitely one to watch. Quite a bit going on, even a red flag in there, but Stefano Mesa persevered and found himself in the 3rd spot on our podium once again this season. How were you able to push through all of that adversity and pull it off?
Yeah, yesterday was really a weird day. Started with kind of dry and then wet, and then it started pouring. So it was definitely an interesting race. I've been here before. I haven't ridden in the race, but I've been here in an event, and I've seen a lot of people go down left and right. So I knew what we were coming into. So that's kind of when I backed off and didn't do the morning practice or qualifying. So I just went out there and had some fun. I mean, my first laps was getting accustomed to the bike and to the feel. And then from there we started moving up a little bit forward, and then the red flag actually worked in my favor. And then after that I came in and I looked at the monitor and I saw I was like half a second off. So I was like, I definitely have a half a second. So I put my head down after the red flag, and it turned out in my favor.
Now, with all of that in mind and with today's conditions in mind, what is your plan for this race?
Yeah, I mean, the weather's probably looks the same, so we're just gonna go out there and give it a shot. We were able to hang with the lead in that last part of the race, so that was definitely a plus for me, and we're gonna give it our all. You know, the goal is not to crash and finish the race, and hopefully finish up front or in the podium.
Well, best of luck out there, and guys, if there's anything we know about Stefano Mesa, it's never count him out.
There's no doubt about it, especially if he gets the whip up front. Barber Motorsports Park, Jason, it goes clockwise and has 17 turns.
Yeah, let's have a look at our Yamaha track map. And as you can see here, it's going to be another wet one. So Mesa will put that stuff that he did yesterday to good use down into turn 1 through turn 4, flat out, into Charlotte's Web, where we saw the race winning pass yesterday, over the back section 10, 11, into a blind turn 12, and then back up the hill over 13, back down into 14, 15, 16. Want to get a good run out of turn 17, Greg, is you got a finish line that's a little bit further down track, so you can actually pass somebody before you get there.
A good overview of what that track looked like. But Jason, we asked you to take a look at some of the key places to pass. When we talked about it, it was dry when we looked at it, but it's time for our Cardo track hot spots.
Yeah, first one is down into turn 1, blind left-hand corner. Can't see the apex as you tip in. It's a turn that once you get some laps around here, you kind of get to know it a little bit. Down into Charlotte's Web. Here's the next hot spot, but I felt we see a lot of passing down in there. A couple different ways you can take this corner. And then we're going to move over to the back section, going down into this turn 11, 12, 13 area. There's the fast left, fast right, back up over the top of the hill. A lot of different undulations here at Barber, and you go through these big, long right-handers, which would be 14, 15, 16, which eventually leads you onto this front straightaway. And you can see you got a bit of a run down to where that finish line is.
So there's the Cardo track hot spots. But Jay, there's some news coming out of today. Richie Escalante injured this morning and is pulled out of the race.
Yeah, real shame. He tipped off through turn 2 this morning. You're going to see the back end snap around and lands on that left side really hard. And, you know, unfortunately, it sounds like a collarbone injury for Richie. And he's going to not be able to start this race today. He did eventually get back up, and I saw him actually riding the bike back. But yeah, too bad.
All right, we're going to get this race going. More coming at you from Barber Motorsports Park on the other side.
Well, we get our little breaks here, Roger Hayden. I'm Robbie Floyd, and we get our break to talk about the things that we want to talk about. As we see, the rain is going to be a factor. We thought it let up a little bit. It's just a fact of what they're going to have to deal with, who's going to deal with it the best. A lot of riders in this class, but one thing we're certain of, never give up. If you get down, you better pick it back up, Roger.
Seen that yesterday in the Superbike race, a couple guys crashing, getting up and getting on the podium. So with it being wet, you never know what can happen. If there's a mistake and you slide out, try to get up as quick as you can, get back in the race. But today I think we're going to see some new guys at the front. And with the conditions the way they are, we've seen in the practice and the race yesterday, a couple new names toward the front, CJ LaRoche.
Yep.
Some guys like that. It's going to be interesting to see.
Xavier Zayat might be one to look for. Seeing his name, like Gabriel Da Silva. Guys that were up front couldn't stay that way. How can they keep it, rubber side down the entire time with those Dunlop rain tires? Gabriel Da Silva especially looked like he was very fast.
He looked fast this morning as well. They showed him on TV a couple times. Looked really, really comfortable and was fast in yesterday's race as well. So, it's going to be interesting to see. I think now with the rain, we're going to see a lot of different guys in the front.
CJ LaRoche. CJ only hits dingers. LaRoche going for that home run today. Northeast Cycle Outlet rider. The 20 should be up near the front as well. He threw it away on the back section. Only saw so many people go down over there. Really, that museum corner, a big one. The final turn as they come down the front straight's a big one. And on the exit, too. That's where the water tends to pull up, even though we were seeing several guys crash heading into that final turn.
It just seems like there was a couple of the corners that really caught the guys out. And today I think you'll see guys taking a mental note of that, being a little bit more cautious in those 3 corners, the museum corner being the main one, the chicane, and then also the last corner.
So tell me what's happening here. They are not permitted to get out there in their spot. Did they miss their original sighting lap and they're holding them for that reason? Carl Soltis, the rider on the right, can't see who that is on the left, but the 87, it looks like possibly. But what happens there? You're just late to the grid?
Yeah, you're just late to the grid. You got a certain amount of time, and if you don't make it out, they stop you at the pit exit. And I'm assuming maybe these guys with the weather might have thought the race was going to be delayed a little bit, but it's not.
Rigo Salazar, the other rider, and they're explaining to him again. Salazar from Colombia, the 3R team racing entry, and Carl Sotish, he should know what's up in the Disrupt racing. One rider we're not seeing is Richie Escalante up on the starting grid. We saw them working on his bike, but you looked over at me and said, where is Richie? We do not see him.
Also, when he got up this morning, he was holding his shoulder a little bit, so it might have been that same one that he injured earlier in the season, but I don't see Richie Escalante on the grid.
So we've been told that he is out of the field, so something probably physically wrong with him, but they were working on that bike like they were trying to get it back out there. So don't know if the bike wasn't prepared or don't know if he is prepared to race his final race, but we don't see him now. He would not be there. If he is, he would have to start at the back of the pack. I'll send him back to the guys next door.
Today's Supersport coverage is sponsored by Geico Motorcycle. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on your car or motorcycle insurance. And by Dunlop, the official tire of the MotoAmerica Championship Series.
Welcome back. Here's a look at the starting grid for Supersport race number 2. Sean Dillon Kelly, Stefano Mesa, and Kevin Olmedo.
Yeah, and then we got Lockoff back there, and back to row 3, even Zayat, De Silva, Nassani. Then we got Doyle, Liam Grant, Salazar, Minister LaRoche, Schultes, Miller, Faulkner, and Blackall. And then Chuck Ivey, Zaragoza, Silva, Schweiger, Nord, and Fernando Silva. Tony McKnight, and there's Nick Pedno. He's got to come from the back row again today.
Again.
Where did he end up? 6th yesterday?
Yeah, he
7th, 8th. I know he
had a great run yesterday.
Yeah, really good run
now,
for
Jay,
him. So we'll see what
unfortunately,
happens.
there's no Nolan Lampkin and no Rocco Landers in this race, as well as Richie Escalante.
Nolan tipped off on Friday and unfortunately broke a bone in his hand, and I'm hearing maybe a fractured wrist. There's a good look at Rocco, who he had basically separated his shoulder, did Rocco. So we don't see him fall ever, hardly. And it's a shame to see him out, as we know Rocco would want to be out there racing with these guys. But it looks like he probably got flung up over the high side there on the exit of turn 3 early. And you can see him out there on the grid with everybody for the Superbike race earlier.
Yeah, so Rocco with the separated shoulder, always still with a smile on his face, as you can clearly see, making the best of the situation. So riders are wrapping up their warm-up lap, and they'll take their grid positions. Full rain conditions, as you can see. So Dunlop rain tires, the spec tire for this race without a question. When they first rolled out, the rain had stopped for a good 30 to 40 seconds, and now rain is falling again. So this race scheduled now for 15 laps because of these conditions. Sean Dillon Kelly, without his rival in this year's championship and the last year as well, out of this race as Mesa.
It's really an opportunity for a few guys here to see, you know, we have a good chance of seeing somebody maybe new on the podium in conditions like this. Can a couple of the guys that we thought would be up there yesterday, can they move their way forward? I'm thinking about Lockoff. How much did he learn yesterday? Almedo coming from the front row. We saw him have a little slide off yesterday. Benjamin Smith as well. So let's see if any of these guys can keep it upright today. And what about Thermiotis? Let's have a look and see if he can get himself up on that podium.
Here we go. Supersport race number 2 is underway. Sean Dillon Kelly with a nasty launch. Look at him head off into turn number 1. Got to stay away from that paint. Mesa in second spot, and that's Sam Lockoff. So a couple of M4 X-Star Suzukis up front early.
Yeah, and there's Thermiotis, though. He got a really nice start, good launch. So the 78 is up to 4th. Expect him to maybe look it down the inside of Lockoff as they make the run down this straightaway into Charlotte's Web.
First time hard on the brakes, down into turn number 5. Thermiotis up the inside will take over 3rd spot in that tight line. Sean Dillon Kelly trying to find puddle-free racetrack.
Yeah, it's going to be hard now. There's a lot of standing waters. We saw a little bit of that yesterday in our Superbike feature. Got to remember here, Greg, just an hour ago, it didn't even look like we were going to be able to get this race in on the time that we were expecting to do it. So there's still going to be a lot of water, and it's just started kind of raining again right before the start.
And now it's coming down in the museum corner hard. So riders have to be mindful that these conditions are going to change lap to lap. Mesa in second place, latched onto the back of Sean Dillon Kelly. And in these conditions, it's not often you're going to see someone ride as close if they're right behind the leader in front of them, because it's all about that visibility.
Yeah, you can see once you get back to 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, the visibility becomes very, very difficult. So Mesa right now just kind of sitting on the back of SDK. Going to probably, you know, Mesa's such a smart rider and he's got so much experience. He's going to do whatever he can to just kind of pull away from the rest of the field. And Thermiotis is doing a nice job there in 3rd. But you can see Lockoff is going with him, and I believe that's De Silva in 5th spot just behind him.
If you're new to MotoAmerica racing and you look at these Supersport machines, the same machines you can buy off the showroom floor, one of the distinctions you'll notice is a belly pan underneath that motorcycle. That belly pan is designed in case of any type of engine failure to retain those fluids inside the motor. But what they do in these conditions is there's a drain plug that's under there as well that teams can pull the plug. That way you don't have water collecting in that belly pan, causing some really weird handling characteristics.
Yeah, it does that too. It's really strange, and you can feel it sometimes moving around in there. But for these guys right now, it's just a matter of just kind of, again, Greg, these conditions are so much different than what these guys even practiced in this morning. So for them, it's just to get these first few 3, 4, 5 laps out of the way. We know we've got a little bit of a shortened race compared to what we had yesterday. But pretty impressed right now with Mesa. He's just riding right in the wheel tracks of SDK, our 2021 Supersport champion, headed off to Europe next year with that Moto2 announcement. Going to be riding with the American racing team over there. So for SDK, he's getting a chance to really ride in all kinds of conditions that he'll probably end up seeing when he gets over to Europe. Mesa has a look over his shoulder, sees that he's opening up a bit of a gap. Today, Thermiotis has a little bit more company with Lockoff and De Silva chasing him, and I think Benjamin Smith just behind them.
If you're Mesa right now, Jason, do you think the priority is to get past because of that visibility? Or are you happy to hang around right now?
No, he's just happy. This guy is so seasoned and experienced that he's not going to do anything right now to jeopardize, the rest of the race. We're on lap 2 of 15, and obviously we're going a lot slower than we do in the dry, so the laps are a lot longer. So he's going to try to probably stay as patient as he can. If an opportunity comes up and he feels like he has a lot of pace, then he'll go ahead and make that pass. But it'll be interesting to see what Mesa does. What he'll probably end up doing, Greg, is waiting till the latter laps and try to put a charge on SDK if he's available to do that.
And Jay, in talking to SDK, as far as changes to the bike go, they want to soften it up all over. And obviously, the more laps in the wet, the more feel you can get. And yesterday was a really good learning opportunity to see where he's safe to push out there and where he needs to be careful. Overall, he just wants to have fun, really enjoy this last race, cap off his final season in Supersport with a win before he heads off to Moto2 next year. But he knows it's going to be a battle of who was able to learn the most yesterday.
Yeah, and Anna, to add to the fact that you talk about softening the bike up, Jason, when you're in these conditions, the one thing you're not doing is getting on the brakes as hard. You're not getting on the gas as hard. And so you don't need, if you're...
Don't need as much stability underneath you.
Right, and you don't need as much spring to hold the bike
Correct.
up. And you soften it up so you can use a little bit more of the stroke and really drive the tire into the ground?
Yeah, absolutely. Get it to where you can drive the tire into the ground, although these guys are being so easy with the throttle right now and so easy on the brakes. Talking to a few of the riders earlier, a lot of them said they're not using the brakes all that much, Greg. What they're really doing is just backshifting the motorcycle and skimming the brake levers a little bit. So yeah, they're definitely not going to be using as much stroke in the front. They're definitely not going to be using as much in the rear either when they go to get on the throttle. So that's why you see a lot of these teams softening bikes up before the start of wet weather races. Now, I noticed a couple spots here. One specific place when you start looking at where Mesa might be a little bit better is headed down out of Charlotte's Web, and they start going down that little straightaway. They get down there to that turn 8, turn 9 museum corner. Mesa has a little bit of pace down there, so we'll continue to watch that because he's able to, where SDK is right now is the hardest spot. He's setting the pace. So, he's kind of like the first guy going through all the stuff, and but he's been there before. But Mesa's just lucky enough to kind of just hold on to the back of him.
Stefano Mesa up front on a Kawasaki. The premier Kawasaki rider is Richie Escalante. The #1 plate is not with us this race, is he, Hannah?
Well, no, Greg. He's down here looking on as his competitors come along this straightaway as they're passing by, staying dry from the rain. Richie, this is obviously not how you plan to end your season. Tell us a little bit about what happened this morning.
Yeah, I think this morning I have too much confidence to compare yesterday. So in the turn 2, I lose the rear and beat high side, so I broke my collarbone again. So yeah, I feel very bad to finish the season in this way, to not race today. Just to big thanks to Honor Racing, Hudson Valley, Motorsports, Grace Motorsport, all my sponsors, all the people to support me, my family. Yeah, I'm not so happy. So the best for the riders right now is in the track. The conditions is very similar like yesterday. So yeah, looking forward for the future.
Well, thank you so much, Richie, and heal up quick. Guys.
Thanks, Hannah. Jason, when you have 14 podiums on the season and a handful of wins, for most people that would be a great year. But honestly, for Richie Escalante and the level he set after last season, this is, in a way, a year to forget.
It's almost like they flipped this year, didn't they? Escalante was winning a lot of races. There was some frustration from SDK last year. This year, kind of those roles were reversed. SDK has done a lot of winning. Richie has ridden really well. He's had some bad luck, too, let's be honest. Even that this morning kind of typifies some of the things that happened to Richie this year. A little bit of bad luck, and he just got slammed down on that left shoulder. So good thing is he'll be back to race again another day. As you can see, De Silva and Lockoff have now dispensed of Thermiotis. So this battle for third is going on right now between these two guys. They got by Thermiotis about a lap ago.
And Gabriel De Silva was fast in the rain this morning.
He was.
So De Silva out of Florida on the GP Racing Yamaha R6 coming into the mix and having a good run at it as Sam Lockoff continues his learning curve in Supersport as he's wrapping up his rookie season already a race winner and getting a lot of experience on a Supersport machine yesterday in the rain and piling on more now. But the race up front still this close between Sean Dillon Kelly and Mesa, and now you can see the gap back to third place. It's about 4.6 seconds the last time they came across the stripe.
Yeah, really, again, you know, we're kind of seeing the emergence of Lockoff, learning from what he did yesterday, communicating with his team, getting better. And for De Silva, it's good to see him back on our grids again. I remember seeing him at the beginning of the year in some of the other races. And this is a really nice ride from the 93, putting himself into third, kind of barely, but starting to get away from Lockoff ever so slightly. You can see Thermiotis, and then just behind Thermiotis, Benjamin Smith, Liam Grant, and Nick Patinote is up to 8th.
Unreal.
Really good coming from dead last, yeah, like we've said.
Hannah?
Yeah, guys, talking to Lockoff this morning, he said yesterday he was just trying to survive the race and maintain third in the championship. That's wrapped up now. So, you know, he said he can push a little harder and take more risks, especially if he feels comfortable, he's going to try and go for it. But it's been really nice to watch the evolution of this young rider, you know, being a rookie in the class and taking third in the championship. He's obviously going to continue to make progress as the years go on.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens in silly season to a lot of these riders as we head off into our winter break, looking ahead towards 2022. There's a lot of contracts that have not been signed yet. So what's going to happen to a field of racers? Look at the rain coming down now, Jason, and you can see there's just quite a bit of standing water. It just shows you how good these Dunlop rain tires are. The fact that these riders even lean the bikes over at the angle they're getting. A good look at the pit board on the left part of your screen. That was information that Sam Lockoff was getting from his crew, indicating that he's P4, that he's 2.4 seconds away from the next competitor. So Lockoff, all eyes forward right now as he's racing with someone he hasn't raced with this season, I'm guessing in Gabriel De Silva.
Yeah, and Thermiotis still hasn't quite given up that spot yet. He's behind these guys, but he was a little bit quicker than them that last lap. You see that white helmet in the background coming up over the brow of the hill there, as you see De Silva and Lockoff tipping gingerly into Charlotte's Web. But Thermiotis, that last lap by was, like I said, Greg, it was just a fraction quicker, but he hasn't completely given it up as far as that 5th place or that podium spot. I mean, so many of these guys, I mean, it would be so great to see De Silva on the podium. Never been there, I don't believe. And same for Thermiotis. That time you can see Lockoff got into turn 8 there at the end of the straightaway, just a little bit wide and went over that curbing a little bit awkward, but he is able to keep it where he needs to keep it. These two guys still circulating in about the minute 50 range.
Yeah, and that's what's interesting, Jason. As the rain continues to come down, Sean Dillon Kelly just set the fastest lap of the race at a 150.484. Gabriel De Silva, last time by, set Sector 1 best split time of the race. So, of course, this racetrack divided up into several sections, so riders and teams can figure out where they're strong, where they're not during the course of the race weekend. And we have the ability to look on our timing and scoring screens and see who's fast and who's not. There are a lot of people on the racetrack had set their personal fastest split in sector number 1 last time by. So even though it looks like these conditions are getting worse, lap times aren't showing that story.
No, that's exactly right. And it's just familiarity as well. Just getting up and being comfortable and learning what the track's kind of giving you. It really goes to show you how good these tires are that Dunlop provides the riders. The thing I like is you can hear it in our shots. I want you to listen at home at how easy these guys are rolling on the throttle. Throttle control is such a gigantic part of being able to go fast in this stuff. And just the controls of the motorcycle themselves. There's no stabbing at the front brake. Everything's kind of limited, everything out there. But if you listen even as they come out of Charlotte's Web here, you just listen to the smooth roll on of both these motorcycles at the front. Kind of short shifting their way as the bike gets into a higher RPM, but
didn't even sound like a lot of wheel spin either coming out of these middleweight sport bikes.
Just very, very good. I could hear it just now through the 14, 15, 16 area. I could hear the bikes and how they were rolling on the gas, and then once the bike gets probably 2,000 or 3,000 RPM before redline, they'll short shift the bikes and just let the bike roll a little bit more, Greg, as opposed to getting it up into those higher RPMs.
And you can see in this lap, Jason, as our race leader, Sean Dillon Kelly, was going down through turn down the hill to turn 2, 3, and back up the hill. He's able to, even in these conditions, get his knee on the ground. You can see the wake he was leaving with his knee puck.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. And it's a big advantage. And you were talking a little bit earlier to me about a rider's size and how they can use that to their advantage. And that can get along a little bit with bikes that but I feel like a taller rider really does have a little bit more of an advantage. When you can get your knee on the ground and kind of feel where that's at, that's kind of a good place for you to be. And like I said, a lot of these riders, you can see how thick the knee pucks are. They put those knee pucks on so that they can get a chance to feel that ground up underneath them when they get down there. And if you look at somebody like Mesa, he's a little bit shorter than SDK, one of our smaller competitors, in fact, and it's a little bit harder for him to get his knee on the deck compared to SDK. And even though it looks like he's got rain pucks on, I can't quite tell, but you can see he's still able, because the lean angles can't be as great as normal, he's still able to go the same pace.
Right at the halfway point of Supersport race number 2. And Sean Dylan Kelly continues to lead the way. The best lap of the race at the moment is Gabriel Da Silva. I'm not sure where Da Silva was able to uncork this last lap, but Da Silva was able to go 1:48.9. The riders in front, which is Sean Dylan Kelly and Mesa, they were in the 150s. So over a 1.5 second advantage for the 93 is Da Silva on the charge and looking ahead at the top step of the podium. It's all about searching for that traction, both front and rear. Da Silva, though, even with that unbelievable lap time, still 4 seconds behind these riders, but is on the move.
Yeah, you could definitely see it puddling up a little bit there off that back straightaway out of 11. And these guys just doing a nice job. We're going to get a look here, Greg. Nick Patnud, he's up to, what is he up to? Sixth now.
Place.
I mean, he's come from dead last, and he's got
26th on the grid.
Yeah, just in front of him now is Thermiotis. He was quicker than Thermiotis that last lap by almost 2 full seconds. So, I mean, these guys are kind of lucky he didn't get to start up in those first 2 rows, and you can see here, looks really solid on the bike. There's Thermiotis just up the road in front of him. He's staring at a top 5 finish. Thermiotis, the last lap by, wasn't quite as quick as he has been, so I'm not sure if he had a problem. And you're going to see this is Zaragoza just kind of, I think, just moving out of the way here for these guys to go on through as they come down that front straightaway. There's Liam Grant. Liam Grant doing a great job, too, on the number 90 with Benjamin Smith just behind him.
Yep, the 46. Nick Patton out of North Charleston, South Carolina on that all hustle racing Yamaha R6 has got some rain magic. I mean, coming from 26th on the grid in a talented field like this and up to 6th place with Thermiotis just ahead. If he can get Thermiotis, though, it is 15 seconds to these two. But Jason, the 93 is on the way. Now, last time by, 149.8, 149.9 for our leaders and a 149.2. Yeah. So Da Silva again got another half a second plus.
And you can see him in the shot now. I mean, and to be fair, Lockoff is there. I mean, look at Sam Lockoff. These guys will start to get excited. Now, this is where it becomes a bit tricky in the wet. You start feeling all this confidence, and you see guys right in front of you, and you're thinking, I'm catching them. Wow, this just seems so easy. I'm catching them. And it's such a fine line of disaster or
it's like hero to zero, right?
Hero to zero, exactly right. But you can see Da Silva's really comfortable. He's gone purple, 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 which means fastest splits of the race in the first 3 splits. So, who's this?
Mesa down.
Has gone down.
So our second place rider, Stefano Mesa, who's doing a great job keeping Sean Dylan Kelly in check, is the first rider we've seen hit the deck at the front after Da Silva's been setting fastest sector times again. Mesa not able to maintain the pace. And they just go by the stripe, Jason. And Da Silva now a 47.3 and almost 2 seconds quicker than Sean Dylan Kelly. There we go, down into turn number 2 and 3. Now it's still a healthy lead. Jay, on our timing and scoring, Da Silva went across the line 1.5 seconds.
Wild.
Behind SDK, who is trying to get on the brakes and yard that bike down, but It looks a little bit further than that now. There might have been a mistake made in turn number 1.
Yeah, it does. But remember yesterday, SDK had some pace at the end. Remember, and here we go, Greg. It looks like Mesa just gets to the bottom of turn number 14 there. Lost the rear, spin him around. And that was it. Probably broke a left handlebar or something. I saw him shaking his head. So this is SDK. This is what he does. SDK probably saw that sometimes it wasn't pulling away. And he's gone green in himself now. So SDK is on his personal fastest lap of the race. As we sit here and we watch him, De Silva went quickest in the first split again. And in the last 2 splits, it's a little bit further. Now you can see the big splash and puddles there, standing water on the exit of turn 11 when these guys go through it. You just have to make sure that you go through that stuff absolutely upright. You can't have any lean angle at all.
So 2 Floridians getting after it. Sean Dillon Kelly on the M4X Star Suzuki trying to hold off the advances.
Lockoff just has gone quickest 3rd and 4th split. So all of these guys are setting purple splits, and it looks like the conditions have actually got worse.
I know, that's the thing that's amazing.
Faster. Yeah, pretty impressive.
So right now, De Silva, oh, that was a close one. That was very close for Sam Lockoff, and he has to look behind him, make sure no one was there to collect him just in case.
Well, that might just be the one that he goes, okay, hold on a minute. There's nobody behind me. It isn't so bad finishing the year off on that podium. And once you see those guys go out that are what do they cross that time, Greg? They're almost 3 seconds up the road now from him. So at this stage now, Lockoff, let's see if he decides to take another run at these guys. You heard Hannah say earlier, he's already got 3rd place locked up in the championship. So maybe he'll take another run at them. But if nothing else, you can see him, Greg. It's so hard to push in these conditions. And here we go. It's going to come out of that last corner, and this is another place where it starts to puddle. And see how it hydroplanes. It just kind of hydroplanes. The water from that front tire, Greg, isn't cutting through it as the big puddled up places as easy as it can. And that's exactly what happens. That rear wheel gets into that almost like a lake, and it just sends him sideways.
A pass by Lockoff around lap traffic. He's able to pull that one off, but you can see that was a little tense as the leg goes up.
Head down. I mean, he's still got his head down.
Yeah, he's not messing around.
No.
By the way, Nick Patenaude up to 4th place overall, 21 seconds behind Sean Dillon Kelly as this sent Thermiotis, Liam Grant, Benjamin Smith. He's got 18 seconds though back from Sam Lockoff. If Nick Patenaude wants to think about standing on the podium. But how about Gabriel De Silva? If you're new to MotoAmerica and motorcycle road racing, in the rain you can see Sean Dillon Kelly is in his full leather suit. And behind him is De Silva. He's also in a full leather suit, but in addition to that, he's got a rain suit over the top of that. It's something that some manufacturers have that riders prefer. Try to keep the suit a little bit drier, because one of the things that's interesting about riding in the rain that a lot of people don't talk about, Jay, is how much water that leather suit will absorb, and that adds to the weight. Heavy. It adds to the weight of the motorcycle, and it adds to your drive. And so some riders like De Silva think about that, and they put an additional layer on top of it to try to keep his suit dry.
Some guys maybe only get 1 suit from a manufacturer, or no suits, and have to pay for their suits.
Yes, true.
So again, you want to try to protect it and keep, kind of keep your suit intact. I've not really understood, Greg, because something we should probably research, how rain suit's going to work over a suit that maybe has an airbag in it as well. So when you start to think about if an airbag went off and that kind of thing, but right now he's closed the gap down completely. What is he, 0.7 back? I mean, he's right there. I mean, this is where if you're De Silva, you're thinking, all right, I know I'm on the podium, but man, winning this race would be great.
The pride of Vero Beach, Florida on the GP Racing Yamaha R6. De Silva has gotten to Sean Dillon Kelly. Now the question is, how much is he going to push the issue here? Well, how badly does he want to win this race, and how much is he going to risk?
He's got 4 laps to go, and you can see he's hanging off a long way on that bike, and SDK is just kind of a little bit more centered.
Yeah, definitely different riding styles. Yep. The idea behind that is the thought that you can carry more corner speed with less lean angle. That is definitely what some people think is the case.
Look at De Silva. He's got a run coming out of that last corner as well. He might do something as they go down into turn 1. SDK is probably thinking, wait a minute, it's +0. Who's back there? And if anything, it's gotten just closer and closer. So De Silva now trying to take a shot at SDK.
Very interesting. Different motorcycles from different eras. Of course, the Suzuki GSX-R 600 doesn't have as many electronic aids as the Yamaha R6 does, something that's really evident and helpful here in these rain conditions. Down into Charlotte's Web they go, and now you can see SDK starting to use his skills and technique to try to get that bike slowed down, sending it slightly sideways in the rain. A good run by De Silva. Yamaha R6.
It looks like it's close, Greg. He's by him.
He is, so a new race leader. Gabriel De Silva, ladies and gentlemen, takes over the lead. How do you like that? The great equalizer, rain. Now the question is, can De Silva keep it on the racetrack at this pace, and will Sean Dillon Kelly even bother?
I think SDK will bother. I'm done calling him off of anything anymore, because he'll sit there and he'll study what De Silva's doing, maybe find a couple spots where De Silva might be a little bit better, and he'll pick it up. The 40 is a completely different guy than we saw a year ago, and he's taken his race experiences from this year, and he just continues to use it to his advantage.
This is it for Sean Dillon Kelly, your national champion. Other than the banquet tomorrow night, he's on his way to Europe.
It is nasty out there.
It is.
It is nasty out there right now. I mean, it's coming down as hard as we've seen it come down. And you can see De Silva gets a nice run out of the Charlotte's Web area there. That turn 5, 6, 7 gets a nice run up alongside SDK and is able to make that pass. On the right side of our screen, they're going down into turn 1.
So the Rainmaster, Gabriel De Silva on the GP Racing Yamaha R6 out front. All the while, Sean Dillon Kelly's going, all right, I'll let you lead. Let's figure this out.
I was just going to say, you notice how SDK hasn't just kind of let him go. He's going to sit there and watch 48.8, 49.1 that last time through. Put in perspective, these two guys right now, they're almost 3 seconds a lap quicker than anybody else. They were in the 48, 49 range. The next guys were 52. Nick Petno just went 50.2, so as he came across the line.
Is Sean Dillon Kelly going to steal another heart this time from Gabriel De Silva and snatch victory at the last moment? De Silva's had plenty of time to catch and look at what Sean Dillon Kelly's doing, but without question, SDK on the top of his game in his final MotoAmerica race season. The 19-year-old, number 40, off to the Moto2 World Championship next year. He can do it in the dry, he can do it in mixed conditions, and he's definitely doing it in the rain.
Kind of see De Silva turn his head there, and the SDK is looking down the outside, but kind of turn your head, and it helps you get some of that clear vision again for yourself as he comes up over the top of the hill. He's going to see the white flag, and it's just pouring. But look how SDK's just kind of sitting there, Greg. It doesn't really look like he's too worried right this second. But man, it's
really coming down.
Bad out there right now.
I mean, when you can hear it bouncing off the cameras, you know it's rough. So here we come onto the front straightaway. We know on the outside of this corner is a bit of a puddle. You can see De Silva not go all the way to the edge of the racetrack. Final lap, white flag is out. Can De Silva hold on and win this race? As riders start to fall off, back up front we go. The GP Racing team holding their breath. De Silva on the cusp of a Supersport win in incredible conditions.
Look what he does here, Greg. He's going in nice and tight. He doesn't want to open that door at all. He knows SDK yesterday went up underneath Escalante there, and now he's just got to try to get out of here as smooth as he can. He runs a little bit wide, but that's not going to hurt him yet. He's got to get up over the top of that rise. Now the next shot that SDK could maybe take out of him will be coming down into that turn 12 area. So they're going up over the curbing now through Museum Corner, nice and ginger into here.
Yeah.
SDK is trying to get as close as he can so that so they're going to go through this next left-right, and you can see SDK's got a little bit of drive grip, it looks, where he's a little bit more confident. They're going to go through this right-hander. Now let's see if SDK tries to do anything. Look at him, Greg. Get that bike upright as early as he can. Goes through the deepest part of that. Is SDK going to go up underneath it?
There he goes. Sean Dillon Kelly not wanting to give a win away. Oh, but he is so wide. They're side by side in these conditions. Oh, Sean Dillon Kelly on the high side. He can't keep it under control. And so Sean Dylan Kelly's down, but what about De Silva? Was he able to make the corner? He was!
And now he's just got to just bring it home. He's gonna know exactly what had just happened. Now we got to see what happens if SDK can get that bike back upright. But how about Gabriel De Silva?
Unbelievable. Welcome the number 93 onto the front straightaway, and Gabriel De Silva wins Supersport race number 2, our final Supersport race of the year, and he is pumped. What an effort by Sean Dylan Kelly, just couldn't keep the rear underneath him. He'll pick it up and come across the line.
Wow, he's still going to finish second. Really nice. I'm glad he didn't get hurt. And how about Lockoff? Lockoff coming out of the last corner to see his season end on the podium in what is really a great weekend, or a great year for Sam Lockoff.
Trying to wheelie in the rain. Just spun up the rear tire. Great job by Sam Lockoff. So it's De Silva who's going to stand on top of the podium in what has turned into torrential downpours. Unbelievable to keep it on the track.
Wow.
And you know what, Jason? In addition to winning the race, De Silva will have the fastest lap of the race, a 1:47.337 on lap 9 of 15. Wow. I mean, Jason, if it rained every race, you could be looking at a national champion. This guy's so good in the rain.
Hey, man, it's really cool. It's always fun seeing new people win. It's always fun seeing, this is the dream for so many people to get on the podium or even finish top 5. And all of a sudden, he goes head-to-head with Sean Dylan Kelly, and it was a small mistake by SDK, losing the rear, coming out of turn 13. Just like I said, happy to see SDK get out of here healthy, finishing second, keeping himself on that podium.
And Jason, for most of this season, we only had 3 race winners in Supersport: Sean Dylan Kelly, Richie Escalante, and Stefano Mesa. In the last couple races, we have seen Sam Lockoff win, and now Gabriel De Silva. Wow. Hey, you know you want to come back here and find out how the race went for De Silva. So don't touch that dial. We'll be back to Barber Motorsports Park in a moment.
Wow, what an exciting race. Robbie Floyd, Roger Hayden with you. Our little download in between the television commercials there. Roger, that was a heck of a run. Mesa looked good, kind of holding on to Kelly. Kelly picked up the pace. Mesa went down. But that whole time we were watching, Gabriel De Silva pick him off little by little. And then once he saw him and got within, 3.5, there were chunks.
Yeah, once it almost like 4 seconds, he was just kind of barely catching. And then it seems like once he got in view, he started taking a 1.5 seconds a lap out. And that was a smart ride by him. He caught Sean Dylan Kelly. Stayed behind him, probably went to school for a couple laps, and then he was getting off the corners really well. I was pointing it out to you during the race just how well Gabriel De Silva was getting off the last corner, turn 5, and off the chicane.
What it must feel like for him and for the fans, watching that. You know how hard it was raining. You want to talk about a guy, an entire field that was giving it their all. Patted on again, works his way up to the pack, and once again, gets in an incident and drops down. But, this race, we talked about Sean Dylan Kelly, or the guys did most of the race, but this was Gabriel De Silva's win.
And also the last couple of laps was, the rain really picked up, a lot of big puddles, and, it's difficult when you're leading your first professional race, and the track's changing every lap with the rain. So good ride by him. He's a young guy too, so it's always cool to see somebody get their first win, a kid who's probably been dreaming about this since he was 7 years old, and, his dreams come true.
Virginia, I think he took a 6th place. That was his best finish this year in MotoAmerica and Supersport. Broward Motorsports, 93. GP Racing entry, and he came prepared. He was ready for the rain, and that rain suit did him right. As you said, he's got to be smoking hot in that thing. People just don't realize how humid it gets in those suits. Sam Lockoff, a lot of times people aren't necessarily happy with thirds, especially when he won a race this year. But Sam Lockoff, when he crossed the checker flag, he was happy with that third. He was stoked.
Yeah, especially making such a big step that he made from yesterday. Quite a bit quicker this afternoon than he was yesterday. What he's been doing all year, just taking it steady, learning step by step. And today, he was right there. He was right in the hunt. Had him a big moment with about 5 to go. And I think then he realized, let's just take this podium.
Danilo Lewis, his crew, GP Racing. Everybody down there cheering. You know, that's a family. You know, when we saw Danilo Lewis get a podium last year, that was a tremendous day for them and their team. Now look at this. Gabriel Da Silva, GP Racing, take a victory in Supersport, a class that had been dominated by the rider that he had to beat on that last lap in Sean Dillon Kelly.
Yeah, and it's just great to see, like I said, a rider and then also a team. All these guys put so much effort, all these teams, all these riders, to come here and get a win against the big teams, even though it's in the rain, is a huge accomplishment.
Remember, Sean Dillon Kelly also trying to get the most wins this year as well. He's not going to do that. Still going to have that tie. Wasn't able to do it, but Sean Dillon Kelly did what you told all these young kids to do. You go down, you pick that bike up, you finish the race. SDK finished second. But today's day is to Gabriel Silva.
Today's Supersport coverage is sponsored by Geico Motorcycle. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on your car or motorcycle insurance. And by Dunlop, the official tire of the MotoAmerica Championship Series.
Welcome back to Barber Motorsports Park as Gabriel Da Silva entering victory lane. Let's take a look at what happened and how this whole thing unfolded. Jason, so Da Silva's right there. The number 93 passes for the lead.
Yeah, and you can see here, SDK made the pass down the back straightaway, but his angle into there was just a little tighter than normal. He couldn't open up the exit because Da Silva was just to his outside. Da Silva lucky not to get collected in that. He comes across and wins his first national, MotoAmerica National. And this guy here, he gets the bike upright. You can see it means a lot to these guys and their friends. And I'm sure Da Silva's done a lot of club racing down in Florida, but a lot of these guys, that's pretty cool.
For Da Silva, who wins this race, best finish of the year was 6th place at VIR race number 2. Didn't do the entire season, but none of that matters because the smile on Gabriel Da Silva's face after such a big win has got to be big. Let's get right down to Hannah.
A career first podium and career first victory for Gabriel Da Silva. What a race it was. What is it that was really working for you out there that led to this victory here today?
It was a great race, but first I want to thank God for keeping us safe and helping me out there. It was definitely a really tricky race. I just try to slowly build up throughout the race and feel out the conditions. Hydroplaning the whole time. It was really sketchy in the straight, but I just got to thank my whole team for helping me out. It's been great coming here and learning every time we go out, having a good race, and just thank you to everybody. All of our sponsors has been supporting us this year, and all these guys for coming out and having a great race.
Congratulations, Gabriel Da Silva, today's race winner.
So great, Jason. I mean,
love it.
You can tell it's like, hey, I'm standing on top of the step of the podium and I'm talking to Hannah. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's great.
Like no grocery list of sponsors, just so many people.
Yeah, and it is really neat. He never gave up. He kept it going. He wanted to celebrate before he got to the line, then thought better of it. Hannah?
Second place today goes to Sean Dillon Kelly after one heck of a last lap. Take us through what happened there. You dropped it, but you were able to get here. How'd you do it?
Yeah, I think this is the first time that I've crashed in a race and still finished on the podium. So I can't say that I didn't get here from a lack of effort, but it was really, really sketchy out there. You know, the rain was just getting worse and worse. There was we were spinning up, going straight up and down. So I think it was just something about survival. But congrats to Gabriel. It was really cool to see him up there. We go way back from when we started racing. So really, really happy for him to be up here. And yeah, just we fought. I tried my best. I made the pass. I went a little bit wide, which was already sketchy, and then it messed up my line for the exit, and I ended up high-siding. But I'm glad that I was able to get up here. The bike clearly has some good parts because nothing fell off. So I was able to start, finish, and here I am still in second place. But at the end of the day, this is something that we got to be proud of. We're the 2021 Supersport champions. Very, very proud of the job we've done. This is thank you. Whew. This is it's been an incredible season and incredible 3 years. I just need to thank the entire team M4X Suzuki, John and Chris. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity, and I'm very excited to go overseas to Europe, and just want to thank everyone for making this possible. Thank you, Fresh and Lean, Palm Beach Police and Fire Department. Thank you guys for Foundation. Thank you guys for coming out here and supporting us. Thank you to Mike back at home. Jeremy Toy, thank you for supporting me and making this happen. So love you all. Thank you to my family and everyone watching. Love you guys.
Congratulations to Sean Dillon Kelly on an incredible year, guys.
Nice to know that he still has roots in racing, and he started with Gabriel.
That's so cool. And I was kind of thinking, I wondered if they knew each other. I figured they probably did, both being from that same region, same area. But I bet it was surprising to him when he saw De Silva go by.
Let's get right back down to Hannah.
Third place today goes to Samuel Lockoff. What a strong way to finish your rookie season in the class. How was your race and your battle for third?
Yeah, you know, like you said, it's my rookie season, and I just want to thank M4 because, you know, they gave me the opportunity to ride for them. I hope I can ride for them next year, honestly. But, yeah, well done to Gabriel, Sean, and I just want to thank my family for coming to every race. I want to thank Ray. I want to thank Barry. I want to thank Brian. I want to thank the whole M4 team. And, yeah, like they said, it was kind of sketchy going in a straight line and your front is just, like, completely crossed. But luckily, I didn't end up crashing. And I saw I was catching Sean, and then I kind of made a mistake coming out of the exit of the last corner, and then I kind of dropped my pace. But I'm just glad I could make it alive. Thanks.
Congratulations, Sam Lockoff, guys.
Congratulations. We'll be back with more as we look at our 5th Supersport winner of the season.
Carl, what have you done?
Think anyone will notice?
Yes.
Yeah.
If you ride, you get it.
Yeah, they will.
Geico Motorcycle. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
The American Motorcyclist Association sanctions MotoAmerica Professional Road Racing, the home of the AMA Superbike Championship. We also sanction more than 100 amateur road racing events across the country, offering member discounts on lodging and gear and AMA member-exclusive roadside assistance options for emergencies. The AMA also supports your right to race. Backing the RPM Act, join today at AmericanMotorcyclist.com or call 1-800-AMA-JOIN.
NGK makes ignition coils. Why? Because we prefer a running partner that can keep pace. We know ignition, and since our spark plugs don't run alone, we put some of our energy and expertise into making better coils. NGK ignition coils are engineered to OE durability and performance. And because we race to win, we improve the design, testing, and validation of our coils for better performance. NGK spark plugs and coils, better together.
The United States Motorcycle Coaching Association connects riders with the best certified coaches to elevate their riding experience and improve their skills. A safe learning environment is the first step to good coaching, and all USMCA certified coaches uphold the values and code of conduct of the USMCA. Our coaches have cleared a national level background check and are CPR and first aid certified. Log on to motorcyclecoaching.org, type in your zip code to find the coach nearest you.
Welcome back to Barber Motorsports Park as Gabriel De Silva stands on top of the podium. Not a bad place to stand. Your first trip to the podium. And Jason Pridmore, here's race 2 and how it happened.
Yeah, we're going to see SDK off to another good start. Mesa was right there with him for the longest time and just looked like he was riding around with him, doing a really nice job. Here we see Thormiotis, Lockoff, and De Silva. They were quite a ways back, Greg. As you can see by this shot here, 2 leaders are out, but De Silva moved his way to 3rd. Both these riders were able to get by Thormiotis about the halfway point. Then all of a sudden, it started to happen. We saw Mesa tip off there at the bottom of turn 14. And with about 3 laps to go, De Silva was starting to make some runs on SDK. Finally does it out of Charlotte's Web, down into that very tricky museum corner area. And you heard what SDK said. Got into that turn a little bit too deep, put him offline a little bit here. Couldn't open up his exit as much as he likes. That bike flips him over the top. De Silva comes onto the front straightaway and wins his first MotoAmerica race.
That is such a great race for De Silva, and second place for Sean Dillon Kelly. So congratulations to the number 93 on that win. Here's a look at those points and how they ended up this season, because we are done and dusted for Sean Dillon Kelly. 410 points, and he leaves this season as the number 1 plate and most points scored in one season. So that'll do it for us for Supersport for 2021. We can't wait to see what the future of this class has in store for next season. Make sure you check out MotoAmerica.com for all the latest and greatest information. For Hannah Lopa and Jason Pridmore, I'm Greg White. Thanks so much for hanging out with us all season long. We'll see you again in 2022.